This episode is adapted from a clinician-written article on Mentalyc and brought to life in audio for therapists who prefer listening on the go.
Exactly. We love a good listen during a commute or while prepping for the day. And this piece was written by Angela M. Dole, a psychotherapist, and we're really excited to feature her perspective here.
Absolutely. And for anyone who might be new to us, just for context, since the article does come from Mentalyc, it helps to know it's a clinical intelligence platform designed to make our lives as therapists a bit easier with documentation.
A lot easier. But let's dive in. You know that feeling, that specific moment in a session where a client is just stuck, like truly caught in a thought loop, and you can almost feel the weight of it in the room.
Oh, I know it so well. It's often that same recurring narrative, the one that sounds like, I'm a failure, or I'll never get this right. It's this dense, heavy cloud that just follows them.
Yes, exactly. That cloud. And that's really what we're digging into today, the heart of cognitive behavioral therapy, right? This incredible tool we have called cognitive reframing. It's all about helping our clients see that the thought isn't the truth. It's just a thought.
It's a powerful distinction. It's the difference between I am a failure and I am having the thought that I am a failure. That little bit of distance is where all the work can happen. It creates space for curiosity.
It really does. Let's maybe ground this in a super classic example. I think we've all had a client who comes in completely deflated and says something like, I made a mistake on a big project at work. I'm pretty sure this means I'll never actually succeed in my career.
Oh yeah, the global conclusion from a single event. That black and white thinking, that cognitive distortion, is so potent. One mistake becomes a permanent stain on their entire professional identity.
It's so potent. And our job then is to gently help them challenge that. Not to tell them they're wrong, but to get curious with them. I love using Socratic questioning here. I might ask something like, okay, so that mistake felt really significant. I'm wondering, can you tell me about a time at work when you felt really competent or proud of something you accomplished?
I love that. You're immediately asking them to scan for contrary evidence without even calling it that. You're broadening their perspective, reminding them that their work history is a whole movie, not just this one bad scene.
Exactly. And as they start to recall past successes, you can see the shift. The rigidity starts to soften. The reframe starts to form naturally. It might sound like, okay, so maybe this one mistake isn't the only thing that defines my performance.
And then you can build on that. What did you learn from this mistake? Or how could this experience actually help you in your next project? You're helping them reframe the mistake not as a verdict, but as data, as a learning opportunity. It's a move from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset.
Yes, from failure to feedback. And it's not just in professional settings, is it? This kind of thinking pops up everywhere, especially in relationships. That fear of rejection is so primal.
Oh, completely. What about the client who says, my friends didn't invite me to a party. It must mean they don't actually like me. The mind reading, the personalization, it's a painful combination.
So painful and so common. This is where I love the examining the evidence technique. It's so concrete. We can literally make 2 columns on a piece of paper or just do it verbally. Okay, what's the evidence for the thought that they don't like you?
And the client will say, well, they didn't invite me to this party, and maybe they struggle to come up with much else. Then you gently pivot. Okay, now what's the evidence against that thought? What suggests they do like you?
And that's where the light comes in. They'll start to remember, well, Sarah did call me just to check in last week, and we all went out for coffee the week before, and Mike sent me that funny video yesterday. Suddenly, the one uninvitation starts to look a lot smaller next to this mountain of positive evidence.
It contextualizes it. And then we can explore alternative interpretations. What are some other possible reasons you might not have been invited? Maybe it was a small gathering for a specific reason. Maybe they assumed you were busy. Maybe they just forgot. It happens.
It absolutely happens. It moves the client from this place of anxious self-blame to a place of curiosity and, frankly, relational grace. It teaches them not to assume the worst about others' intentions. This process is so empowering for them in the long run.
It is. And this whole idea of assuming the worst, that leads us directly into catastrophic thinking, doesn't it? The big, scary what-if questions that can paralyze a client.
The what-ifs, the classic one. What if I fail my exam and ruin my entire future? The stakes feel so incredibly high in their mind. The anxiety is just off the charts.
Completely. And our first instinct as therapists is to validate that fear, not to dismiss it. That sounds incredibly stressful. It makes sense that you're worried about this. We have to start there with empathy.
Always start with validation, and then we can begin the decatastrophizing process. Step 1 is to play it out. Okay, let's imagine the worst-case scenario happens. You fail the exam. What would actually happen next?
And you walk them down that path. Would you be able to retake the class? Is there a summer school option? Would you talk to your academic advisor? You help them see that while it would be disappointing and difficult, it's very rarely the life-ruining catastrophe they've built it up to be.
Exactly. You're essentially helping them create a coping plan for a feared outcome. And in doing that, you're giving them a sense of agency and control. The fear loses its power when you have a plan to deal with it. They move from feeling powerless to feeling prepared.
It's so true. It reminds me of how this work ties directly into our treatment planning. When a client brings up a core fear like that, it's not just a conversation topic, it's a treatment goal in the making.
Oh, 100%. I've actually found the Mentalyc AI treatment planner to be really useful for this. You can take that specific catastrophic dot, that fear of failing the exam, and build a measurable, client-centered goal right around it. Something like, client will identify and challenge catastrophic thoughts related to academic performance by utilizing decatastrophizing techniques in 3 out of 4 identified instances.
That is such a smart way to use it. It formalizes the work we're doing in session and makes it trackable. It helps both of us see the progress over time. And honestly, with the new feature that lets you transfer notes and plans to your EHR with a single click, no more of that endless copy-pasting, it just makes the whole process so much more fluid.
Oh my gosh, the war against copy-paste is a real one for therapists. Anything that eliminates that step is a huge win. It gives me back time to, actually think about the client instead of my cursor.
Totally. Quick pause here. If this part of the work feels familiar, that juggle between deep clinical work and the administrative load, Mentalyc can really help. Its AI treatment planner supports your documentation and clinical judgment while staying fully HIPAA and SOC 2 compliant. You can explore it at Mentalyc.com. Okay, back to it.
Right. So we've talked about catastrophizing. What about another heavy one? The burden of misplaced responsibility. This is where reattribution comes in.
Yes, the client who carries the weight of the world. The example that always gets me is the parent who says, "My child is struggling in school, and it's because I'm a terrible parent." The self-blame is just crushing.
It is, and our role there is to help them zoom out, to see all the other factors at play. We can gently ask, I hear how much you're blaming yourself for this. I'm wondering, what are some other things that might be contributing to your child's struggle? What's going on in the classroom? How are things socially? What do we know about their unique learning style?
It's like creating a pie chart of responsibility. The parent's role is one slice, but there are also slices for the school system, the teachers, peer relationships, and the child's own temperament and challenges. It doesn't remove the parent's responsibility, but it right-sizes it.
Right-size it. I love that phrasing. It shifts them from a position of shame and paralysis, I am a bad parent, to a position of proactive support. Okay, given all these factors, what is my role? How can I best support my child right now? It's so much more empowering.
It really is. And this idea of finding a more empowering perspective, that leads beautifully into positive reframing, especially when a client is facing a major life event like a job loss.
Oh, absolutely. The initial thought is almost always, this is the worst thing that has ever happened to me. And again, we have to start by validating that pain. Losing a job is a huge loss of income, of identity, of routine.
It's a grief process. But once we've honored that grief, positive reframing can gently open a door. It's not about saying, losing your job is great. It's about asking, while this is incredibly difficult, is there any part of this that could be an opportunity? Is there anything you didn't like about that job? Is there a path you've always been curious about but never had the chance to explore?
Exactly. It's finding the silver lining without pretending the cloud isn't there. It helps the client see this moment not just as an ending, but as a potential turning point, a chance to pivot towards something more aligned, more fulfilling. It fosters what we could call resilient optimism.
Resilient optimism. I really like that. It's not toxic positivity, it's grounded hope. It's acknowledging the hardship while also looking for the potential for growth that exists within almost any challenge.
And sometimes the challenge isn't an external event, but the internal experience itself. The client who says, I can't handle this anxiety, it's completely ruining my life. The feeling itself has become the catastrophe.
Yes, that's another form of decatastrophizing, isn't it? The goal is to break it down into manageable pieces. Instead of this huge, monolithic monster called anxiety, we can ask, okay, what is one small tiny thing you could do right now to feel even 1% more in control?
I love that. 1%. It's so achievable. Maybe it's taking 3 deep breaths. Maybe it's standing up and stretching. Maybe it's naming 5 blue things in the room. Each small action is a piece of evidence that they can handle it moment by moment. It disproves the thought that they are helpless.
It builds self-efficacy in real time. Each successful small step builds their confidence that they have tools to manage this overwhelming feeling. It's not about eliminating anxiety forever, but about riding the waves.
And we see this all or nothing thinking in relationships too, right? A client has a fight with their partner or makes a mistake, and the immediate thought is, that's it. This will ruin our marriage.
Yes, the finality of it. And again, it's about perspective, helping them zoom out and see this one mistake or one argument as a single frame in the long movie of their relationship. Tell me about the foundation of your marriage. What are the strengths you've built together over the years?
That's so good. It reminds them of the bigger context. It reduces the immediate panic and opens up space for a problem-solving approach. The conversation can then shift to, okay, this was a painful event. How can we use this as an opportunity to communicate and repair? What does repair look like in your relationship?
And sometimes, with commitment and communication, those moments of rupture and repair can actually end up strengthening the bond and enhancing intimacy. It proves the relationship is resilient enough to handle mistakes.
So true. Okay, so let's tackle one more, and it's a big one. The really sticky, recurrent, intrusive thoughts, the ones that feel less like a thought and more like a core truth, that internal mantra of, I'm a failure, or I'm unlovable.
The background static that's always on. This is where I find thought stopping can be a really concrete, practical first step for some clients. It's a pattern interrupt.
Right. Teaching them to literally in their mind visualize a stop sign or say the word stop the moment they notice that thought loop starting. It's a conscious act of refusal. Nope, we're not going down this road again right now.
But the crucial part, and this is what's so important, is what comes next. You can't just stop a thought and leave a vacuum. You have to replace it. We work with the client ahead of time to develop a compassionate, realistic, and believable affirmation to pivot to.
Yes, it can't be something they don't believe, like, I'm the most successful person in the world. It has to be something more grounded, like, I am a work in progress and I am learning, or I'm capable of handling challenges and growing from them.
Exactly. It's about actively, consciously building a new neural pathway. And it takes so much practice. It feels clunky and artificial at first, but with repetition, it starts to become more automatic. It's building the muscle of self-compassion.
And that really is the foundation of all of this, isn't it? None of these powerful techniques, not a single one, can work without a strong therapeutic alliance. The client has to feel safe enough with us to even admit these vulnerable thoughts, let alone challenge them.
100%. Trust is the soil in which all this growth happens. We have to meet them where they are, adapt these techniques to their unique personality and circumstances, and always respect their readiness for change. We're collaborators, not directors.
That's such a beautiful way to put it. And I think that's a perfect place to kind of start wrapping up. For me, the big practical takeaway from all of this is that cognitive reframing isn't about tricking yourself into being happy or slapping a positive sticker on a real problem.
No, not at all. It's about building cognitive flexibility. It's about developing the ability to step back, look at a thought from multiple angles, and choose a perspective that is more balanced, more realistic, and ultimately more helpful.
Yes, it's about empowering our clients to become more resilient. We're giving them tools they can carry with them long after therapy ends, so they can navigate life's inevitable challenges with more wisdom and self-compassion. We're helping them become their own best advocate against their own inner critic.
So well said. And honestly, if you want support in tracking these cognitive patterns and the specific reframes that are resonating with each client, using a tool that helps structure your progress notes is invaluable.
Totally. It helps you see the story of their progress over time, which you can then reflect back to them. It's powerful for them to see how far they've come.
Exactly. It really helps you hold the bigger picture in mind, session after session.